I wore the hat of an investor for 8-9 years and working for one of the biggest investment funds in the world. So I understand what it means to be an investor and how important it is to have not just the capital, but the right people. We are a business, and we've built a business on very solid fundamentals. We have very, very good operating margins. We are the only startups in Pakistan that operate on a net profit positive.
When we invest in a startup, we tend to do it at a very early stage. We look at a few things. One, we look at the size of the market. If this startup is successful, how big can it be? Then we look at, is this the right team to execute on that large opportunity and vision?
Atif Awan, one of our first investors, we had one call. I was in London, and next week he said, Omar, we want to lead the round.
So even from that first call, what I remember is Omar was so passionate about that. You know, in your career, you try out a bunch of different things, and often later on, there's a moment where you know exactly what your calling is, what you want to do. So from that first call, it was clear that Omar had found it. You know, he's left private equity, given up a higher salary, and come do that. In the middle of COVID, he's talking about building this co-working space and community around it.
I'm one of the only founders that's invested a significant amount of my own capital in this business. Post investing my own capital, COLABS' second and third building was built on the back of debt. I don't think any startup in Pakistan has taken traditional debt. The idea became from 2,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet. And from 20,000, we're now at 200,000. So I hope that from 200,000, we can get to 2 million square feet. It's just that you have to learn to be a risk taker, right? If you don't take risk, there is no way that you will succeed. कुछ करना है तो proper करो, डरना नहीं चाहिए. We are laser focused and obsessed with free cash flow and what we call ROI, right? I think the reason for being focused on those numbers are that when you saw the startup boom, capital was excess. Everyone was throwing money and X, Y, Z. But then when you saw the dip, people were struggling, runway. I can stop opening spaces today and we can survive for the next 20 years without a penny of capital. Why? Because we built a proper business. If you go to any big city in the world, real estate is very expensive. At the same time, shared economies are thriving. For example, Uber, Careem, they're thriving. People don't own a car, you know, in New York or London. So that's exactly what COLABS or co-working space could do.
If you compare what rental yields are, even on commercial properties, they're very, very low. But COLABS, the economics are much, much better. So the landlord should be interested in partnering with COLABS to create a lot more of those spaces. So we were convinced that the size of the market just in Pakistan alone is very large, and there's obviously opportunity to expand abroad as well.
At the same time, my engineering and technical team as a whole has been so well trained in the last 7 years that we can go acquire a building, make a COLABS and deliver it in less than 90 days. It's about having a playbook and really being obsessed with the playbook. If you look at the first COLABS, but then you go to the new ones all look the same. Every room has the same desk, the same chair, the same drawer set. And it's that consistency that helps you replicate.
So Indus Valley, our vision is to realize Pakistan's true potential through technology and entrepreneurship. And that's not possible without places where people can come together, interact with each other, collaborate, learn from each other.
Because in our culture in Pakistan, we have joint families, we have a lot of problems at home, and an individual cannot grow or get to where he wants to if he does not leave his house and go to a place where he actually feels that he's part of a community, which is the community of the future, which is essentially like-minded people. And that's what COLABS does to you, essentially. The purpose is doing something that creates change. We look at Pakistan today, you hear Iqbal, and the whole purpose was कि आपने लोगों को तालीम देनी है, तरक्की देनी है, आगे लेके चलना.
So I'll give you an example of Silicon Valley. You know, it's an incredible place where people have been able to move to Silicon Valley with nothing. You know, they're in their early 20s, they don't have any money, and build incredible companies, you know, that change the world. And the reason that happens is two things. One, that spirit of collaboration and giving back. You need to give. And giving is a core part of what I've grown up learning and seeing as well. So if somebody asks someone for a coffee chat, you know, in Silicon Valley, it's very common for people to say yes to it if they have time. And then the second thing is serendipity, which is having that density of the smartest people in one place where you run into somebody and that sparks a hallway conversation or a coffee chat, and that leads to something bigger. So now coming back to Pakistan, we don't have enough of that, right? Like everybody is you know, heads down, building their own things. And that's why what COLABS is doing is so important, because you need these spaces, you need these communities where we can cultivate both that spirit of collaboration that I talked about and also provide an avenue for that serendipity to happen.